Welcome to the Lightning Out the Bottle podcast. I am your host, Mr. Leach. Thank you guys for joining me for another episode. Today is our first week wrap up for the free agency, and man, it's been a doozy. There's been some ups and downs. There's been some frustration. There's been some joy. It's been an emotional few first days in the free agency, and I can't wait to see what we got going on next week. Had about 16 signings so far this offseason, when you include re-signings and the new guys that they brought on the team. Some guys we were familiar with, some guys we dreamed for, some guys we don't know a whole lot about, so we'll be learning about those guys together. So thank you guys for joining me for another episode. Let's dive right in. First, let's talk about some of the players that we lost. We lost Josh Palmer. He signed with the Bills, so he will no longer be in our wide receiver room. He was a pretty good guy. He was the third option for this team. He had some good moments. He had some bad moments, but he'll no longer be in the Powder Blues. Christian Fulton signed with the Chiefs. Of course he did, because for some reason players like going to our rivals. I don't know if that's a sticker to you or if it's the best offer or whatever it is, but good luck to him except for when they play the Chargers. Poona Ford, probably the biggest loss of this offseason for that Charger defense. Big guy in the middle. He's gone. He walks right across the hall, signs with the Rams. I hope things work out for him. Wish we could have kept him. That was a big loss for us. Stone Smart to the Jets. That was another big one. We lost him. That was our third string tight end. I'm hoping that this shows that we'll be moving towards a couple of tight ends in the draft, but who knows what Ortiz has plans on. He could be waiting for a couple of guys to get cut to avoid signing bonuses, and so these other teams can become cap compliant. So we'll see what happens at the tight end position. Big loss, Nick Neiman, special team specialist. So we'll lose him. He signs with the Texans. So that's a pretty big loss that we're going to feel on the special teams. Not necessarily on the defense, but for sure we'll feel that on the special team. We release Joey Bosa, and, we're all going to miss Big Bosa. He also signed with the Bills, which kind of shocked me. I thought he'd be going up north to be playing with his brother, but I guess the Bills offered him more money, so that's where he'll be playing next season. He'll do a stint at the Bills, and then after that, we'll figure out what's going on with him. We also released Gus Edwards. I can't say I didn't see this coming. We knew Joey Bosa was going to get cut. I kind of knew Gus was going to get cut, especially with the signing of Najee Harris. I'm actually shocked that they haven't brought J.K. Dobbins back yet, but we'll see how that works out. Hopefully they'll bring him back, and that'll be a great 1-2 punch. And then Vidal, he has a whole offseason under his belt, a full year, so hopefully we'll see some big things from him. He could steal a couple of carries from this guy. We ended up tendering Tucker Fisk. I'm not sure. I mean, he's a blocking tight end, so we'll see. He's not going to do too much for us, but he does make some big plays here and there. So we tendered him. We'll see what goes on with him. Give him that 1-year contract. We'll bring him in. We re-signed Elijah Molden. That was a big re-signing. We need this guy to be playing up high so we can bring Derwin down. Derwin can play all over the field. Elijah Molden gives us the safety to move him around, put Derwin wherever we need him to go and not worry about losing it over top with him and Gilman. That's a pretty good safety squad. Hopefully we can pick up another safety somewhere along the line. That would be great. But yeah, the signing of Elijah Molden was a very big signing. I put that up there as number 3, I would say, as most important to get done. Number 2 really is, as you're talking about, re-signing, because the extension of Slater is number 1 in this offseason. We also brought back Khalil Mack, which 1A, 1B, I would say, between Slater and Mack. We definitely needed to bring Khalil Mack back after losing Joey Bosa. If we would have went down with just having Thule and Bud Dupree in that edge room, that could have been really scary. There's not a ton of edge rushers in this free agency. There are a ton in the draft, so that would just be more resources we would have to commit to that defensive edge position. So bringing back Khalil Mack was a major win for us, for this team. So I'm glad to see that got done. They re-signed J.K. Scott. Can't go without a punter, so that one, that goes without saying. Jalen Reagor, they bring him back. He got some special team benefits. He can help in the wide receiver room, I guess, but he's more like a 5th option, so he's not somebody that we could rely on seeing. We actually hope we don't see him on the field. We hope we see three top wide receivers play every snap, but it's always good to have depth and a guy that can help you out on special teams there. So that was a good sign in bringing Jalen Rager back. Troy Dye in the linebacker room. That was a good sign to bring back. I was happy to see Troy Dye come back. That linebacker room was solid. That's the one spot that I wouldn't mind see run it back. I think Junior Colson's going to take a big leap. Deion Henley still Deion Henley going to take a big leap. He had a fantastic season last year, so I'm expecting to see big things from this linebacker core. They also bring back Denzel Perryman, which makes him the only San Diego Charger on the roster. Which that was a great bring back. That was an exciting bring back. Like I said, these linebackers they did really well. I still hope they pick up a linebacker in the draft, like a Smile Munden Jr. or something like that. That would be a great pickup in the draft to add to this linebacker room. But it looks pretty good for right now. I don't think we need to make too many changes to that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the linebacker room. They re-signed Taylor Heineke, which is great. You got to have a veteran backup for your quarterback. You know, we all hope nothing happens to Justin Herbert, but just in case it does, you do want to have a veteran guy that can come in, have some starts under his belt. You know, has played a ton of football in this league, so he could carry us for a couple of games if we needed to, 2, 3 at the most, I think, until Justin gets back. So it's always great to have a veteran presence like that in your locker room, in that room, helping Justin. So that was a great signing to bring back. I know he's one of Justin's favorite. He's a fan favorite, so it's good to see him back. Hopefully they'll draft another quarterback that they can bring along, a young guy, 1 or 2 years from now could be a quality backup for Justin Herbert. So I think this is the draft that they may do that late 6th, 7th round, grab somebody and bring them in to help. So now let's talk about some of the guys that we did actually get to sign. These are it's very interesting because we didn't know a lot about these guys. These moves happened really quick, and we were not aware of it. The first thing that these guys addressed in the offseason, which was a shocker to me, I knew they would address it sometime during the offseason. I didn't know they would address it that quickly. The first thing they did was sign quarterback Ben St. Just, a 6'3", 200-pound cornerback. I mean, he was a 2021 third-round pick out of Washington. I mean, he's 27 years old. He played with Harbaugh, so he's a Michigan guy. He's going to be a great pickup in addition to that room. I mean, you have Cam Hart, you have Tarheeb still already, so just adding some depth to that room. That was a great pickup that none of us, I don't think, saw coming. But these are big. This is a big, solid guy. Can play well in the zone. He's going to be a nice addition to this locker room, I think, because he has a familiarity with what Harbaugh is and what Harbaugh likes to do. I think that's going to be a big addition to his team, and I think he can help the young guys jump even further than they already have. So I'm actually happy with that pick a lot. The second cornerback they brought, maybe an hour later, they ended up signing Dante Jackson, the cornerback from the Panthers and the Steelers. Guy was a nose for the ball. He has a good nose for the ball. Fantastic in the zone. He has had 5 interceptions last season. So he's going to be a great addition with him and Tarheeb Steele. These guys are going to be ball hawking all year. So I think they are going to be a fantastic duo when they're on the field together. Then you have Cam Hart taking people out. And with St. Just, I think this cornerback room looks pretty solid. I know we know Elijah Molden can play cornerback if he needs to. So that's a great pickup there. We don't know what's going to happen with Asante Samuel Jr. We got to see. I'm not too sure I want to sign him back. I think the price may just be a little bit too rich for my blood, but he is a fantastic corner. It kind of just reminds me of the Jason Verrett situation where you have a guy with all this tremendous talent but just can't get on the field or can't stay on the field. So I hate to lose the kid because he's a fantastic cornerback in coverage. Not the best tackler, but he's a fantastic cover guy. So that's going to be a big loss, but it may result in us gaining another comp pick next year. So, we just have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully we can get the kid back on the team and he can actually get on the field. That would be the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is he walks, get a deal somewhere else, and we get a comp pick for it. So we have to just wait and see what happens with Asante Samuel Jr., but I think the pickup of Dante Jackson fills a big hole that this team may have. Like I said, 5 picks, He ranked number 6 in all cornerbacks with 25 targets or more. So that's fantastic. So this is a great corner guy, cover guy. I'm sorry, great zone coverage guy, and he has the nose for the ball. So even though we weren't expecting that pick, um, and we have seen some coverage numbers that were pretty low, but I think he's going to be a perfect fit in Jesse Minter's defense. For what Jesse Minter wants to do, I think this is going to fit absolutely fantastic in there. So kudos to them for shoring up the cornerback position. That means we're not gonna have to reach for a corner high in the draft, because I was thinking we were gonna have to grab at least one or two corners in the draft if they didn't do anything. But signing 2 cornerbacks in the offseason makes it a situation where we can pick up a corner late for development because we don't need him to rush onto the field. I like Zah Frazier out of UTSA late in the draft. He's a big, long, wiry cornerback. I think he could develop into something special. We won't need him to get on the field immediately. They could take their time with him and get him acclimated to NFL speed, play calling and all that good stuff, dealing with bigger, stronger, faster wide receivers at the pro level. These are 2 good, solid pickups that they got in the offseason, so kudos for them for grabbing that. Then they grabbed what is a controversial pick to some, but to me it's a fantastic pick. They grabbed Najee Harris, a former first-round pick out of the Steelers. This guy is an Iron Man. This guy's played 4 seasons, has not missed a game in 4 seasons, and has 1,000-yard rushes in every single one of them seasons. He's 6'1", 243-pound monster. Najee Harris is the type of guy that when you say the Thunder for Lightning and Thunder, he is definitely the Thunder. He's running guys over left and right. This is a great addition. Good positive attitude, hard-working young kid. He's a lunch pail type of running back. This is the perfect type of running back that Harbaugh wants. He's a Harbaugh guy. He gets it done. He doesn't complain. He just comes in and does his job. And what else do you want from a primary running back, RB1? You want a guy that you can give the rock 300 times. He's going to just carry it. He has a low average at about 3.9 per carry, but if you give it to him 3 times in a row, that's still a first down. And you're beating down the defense. You're opening up play action. Lag can get down the field. You can get so many guys open when you have an effective play action. And with a guy that can tote the rock that much, that definitely opens up a lot more options for your passing game. So I'm glad to see that. Ladd McConkey is going to benefit, I think, the most from this signing. Even though, you're going to be handing the ball off a lot, it's definitely going to be Ladd McConkey who benefits the most from this signing. So good job to them for picking up Najee Harris. The fact that he's never missed a game, that's just, I just love that so much, love that so much. He's also had about 299 missed tackles over his career. Last season alone, he had about 30, I believe it was. So the guy is great generating missed tackles. He's not the shakiest receiver, but he does have some wiggle to him. So he's not going to just come down. And when he does, meet contact, he's strong enough to bull through it. Like I said, 6'1", 242 pounds. A guy like that hitting the offensive line or the defensive line and the linebackers over and over again, it will wear down defenses. In the third and the fourth quarter, that's when you actually strike. He has about 1,100 catching yards. I'm sorry. So he can catch the ball out of the backfield. I'm not going to hold my breath. About 250 to 300 yards, 275 yards a season catching out of the backfield. That's not really what you want him for. You really want him between the tackles type of runner. Sometimes you want to push him outside, but he's really primarily going to be a between the tackles type of runner. And you're using him to wear down defenses. That's what you're using him for. So I can't wait to see him in that powder blue. I can't wait to see him get to work. Next was the big bad return of Mike Dub. The Chargers go out and sign Mike Williams, wide receiver. 6'4", 218 pounds. You know the guy. You know the guy. He needs no introduction. He's a true X receiver. He's a sideline guy. And this is another one that's going to benefit from Najee Harris, in that play action game. And he's going to open up a lot for Ladd McConkey. These 2 additions are going to open Ladd McConkey up so much because, Ladd McConkey, when you have a guy, you can't just let Mike Williams run down the sideline free. Him and Justin Herbert have way too much chemistry for you to do that. So you're going to have to generally have a safety looking after him. You're going to have corners. You're going to need to double team him because he's a one-on-one contested catch champion. So with Justin Herbert knowing how to throw it to him, especially the way they connect on that back shoulder fade. That you're gonna have to commit a safety to him, which is gonna leave McConkey open over the middle. Hopefully, Brendan Rice can take a leap. QJ, I'm praying takes a leap because QJ, I think, is going to take a big leap this offseason. Now is a number 3 option, a solid number 3 option. I think he's going to be able to relax easy. He's been working on his routes. He needs to work on his catching because he did have a ton of he has had a ton of drops over his career. He has gotten better, so with more and more targets. So, I think this is actually the year that he takes a really big leap. So I can't wait to see QJ in action, especially with Mike Williams back and, hogging up a lot of those downfield outside routes. That'll give him room to get out open under and then take off. He's not a deep threat guy. That's what we have Mike Williams for. So I think this is going to help out both Ladd and QJ. This is a great signing. This is a great player to bring back. Plus, we just love having him in the building. He's a fan favorite. He has great chemistry with Justin Herbert already. And that's a very big deal, bringing him in. It's much more impactful to have him come to the Chargers than any other team just because of the chemistry that he has with Justin Herbert. He's already comfortable in the city. He probably already has a house here, so it's like coming back home for him. So it's a super, super great deal for both guys. I think it was a 1 year up to $6 million contract. So I think, if he does well this year, I think they re-sign him again. This was a great overall pickup. He tore his ACL last year. He had a whole year before last. He had a whole year to get that back. He ended up actually playing 18 games last season just because of the way the bye weeks were from the trade from when he went from the Jets to the Steelers. So he played a full 18 games on that leg. So it's fantastic. He's back. He's ready to go. I think he's worked out all the kinks. So I think he's 100% healthy. I think he just didn't fit in the Jets offense because Aaron Rodgers, nobody really fits with him. And the Steelers really didn't have a competent quarterback system. Whatever they had going on with Russell Wilson and with Justin Fields, it didn't fit for him either. He did play pretty well when he got there, but I think him being back home is going to bring back the old Mike Williams. I think he'll be rejuvenated. And I think they're going to find some special stuff for the kid in this offense under Greg Roman. So we'll see. But he's a great contested catcher, like we all know, and we needed this guy back. So that was a great pickup. They also did some good work on the defensive side of the ball again. They grabbed a couple of D tackles. First one, Naquan Jones, 6'3", 313 pounds. He's a rotational piece, so he'll be coming in on specific downs that'll cater to his blitzing skills. He hasn't had a ton of sacks. He only had 3 sacks, but he's a great rotational piece. He was an undrafted free agent that went to the Titans. He played some with the Cardinals, but he had 89 tackles, 6.5 sacks over his career, 11 total tackles. One of the good things about him is he brings familiarity with a few of the players on the team. He already played with T.R. Tart and he played with Elijah Molden in Tennessee. So that's a great familiarity already with 2 starters on the defensive side. I think rotating in with T.R. Tart, he's already been in a room with him. So I think they'll play very, very well off of each other. So that's a great pickup. He also played with Bud Dupree. So he played with Bud Dupree, so he already has familiarity with Bud Dupree as well. So that's a great guy to pick up, a guy that can automatically be a glue guy. Come in, has great relationships with guys that are already on the team and in that locker room who I'm sure vouched for this guy before they went out and grabbed him. So this was a great pickup. Again, this was another piece, and similar to Mike Williams, this is another piece that they pick up that relieves stress off the draft, right? You picking up these guys in the free agency, now you're not locked in on having to grab these positions in the draft, and you're going to be able to kind of pick as you want as opposed to pick as you need. And this was a great guy to bring in. Again, he's only 27 years old. And a lot of these guys are fitting into Joe Ortiz's comp pick formula. So this is a great, fantastic pickup here. When you can get a guy like that already has good relationships with guys from another team and he can come in and be a rotational piece in your defense, I mean, that was a great signing. They also grabbed Deshaun Hand, a D tackle, 6'3", 313 pounds. He was a 4th-round pick back in 2018. Now, he's a run-stuffing D tackle. He's also a rotational player. He's bounced around the league, so we'll see. This is more of a depth piece. It was a good filler for what we want. He is a third in a 3-man rotation right now. So I still think that they grab a D tackle from a pretty deep D tackle. I mean, they can get Nazir Stackhouse in the last draft. So I mean, the last round of the draft. So this is a very deep D tackle draft. Everybody wants Kenneth Grant. I know Kenneth Grant is a fantastic D lineman. So I think with the first or the second pick, they do go trenches. Either they grab Gray Zabel or Donovan Jackson if he's available, or they go ahead and because Tyler Booker will be gone for sure. Or they go ahead and grab Kenneth Grant in the first round if he's still there. Maybe they trade back. I don't know, but they will be addressing those trenches. One of those trenches, I believe, in that with that first pick. Maybe they go edge rusher to fill out that edge rusher room because right now we only have three with Dupree, Mack, and Tully. So we got to get beefier up in the trenches. But again, this is like I said, this is a guy that you filled in that hole so that you don't feel like you absolutely have to get a D tackle in the draft. And with T.R. Tar re-signing, that was a very huge re-signing. If they didn't re-sign T.R. Tar and they lost Pierre Poonaford, now you have nobody in that D tackle room that could clog up the middle. So the T.R. Tar re-signing was a big one. Naquan Jones was a good one. And Deshaun Hand going ahead and filling out that defensive line spot. Very big deal, but we do definitely need to get somebody in there that's going to be a threatening for a starter position this year, and somebody who could be the future of the team at that position. So that was a great pickup. Now we lost Nick Niemann, and this next guy is who we replace him with. I think Delshon Phillips. He's a great special teamer. He played on all 4 levels of special team: punt, return, kickoff. The guy is fantastic in special teams. I mean, he's played a ton of snaps. He's played over 1,400 snaps on special teams. So he's a veteran special team player. He played in Baltimore, so he has hardball familiarity, and he's familiar with Ortiz. That's why Ortiz knew so much about him. And he also adds depth in the linebacker room, but this guy is mostly going to be a special teamer that replaces Nick Niemann. I think he's going to help our defense and our offensive special teams tremendously. He's a very solid player. PFF had him as the 5th best special team player in the league last season. So that was a great addition for Ryan Fickett's unit. He came in as an undrafted free agent in 2019. But yeah, this was a great pickup. He's carved out a role for himself in the NFL, so kudos to him. A lot of players aren't able to do that, and I think special teams is a very underrated part of football, right? So it's very important. It's more than just a kicker and a punter and a holder on the special teams unit. So this guy is going to be one of our main special teamers going forward. So I can't wait to see him in action. That's going to be a fantastic addition. You know, one of those underrated things where he's going to be making plays. And you're going to be like, man, who is that guy? That's going to be the guy that's going to be doing that for us on punts, kick returns, kickoffs, all of those good things. So it was a good sign of bringing in Delshon Phillips. And the biggest, probably the best, well, he's definitely the biggest, but probably the best signing of the offseason. It was what we were all looking for with some additional help at that interior O-line spot. We got to protect Justin Herbert. Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz said it in their season-ending press conferences that they failed to protect Justin, and what they do, they go out and they grab Mekhi Becton. 6'7", 362-pound monster. And you know, there are so many people screaming that we weren't doing anything. Mind you, we're only 3 days deep in the free agency. We had the tampering period before that, but we were really only 3 days deep into free agency. They bring in Mekhi Becton. He was one of the biggest reasons Saquon Barkley had that humongous season last year. We were able to get him off of that Super Bowl team. He comes with championship pedigree. He can play in 3 different positions, at least on the line. He was drafted as a left tackle to the Jets. He did play some right tackle, but he shifted last year over to the right guard spot, and he had a breakout season, a resurgence on that field. And I mean, like I said, he was probably the biggest reason that Saquon Barkley was able to get all of those yards last year. I mean, if you watch some of his tape, he was just manhandling players at that second level last season, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. So we get the guy in here, and he's protecting Justin Herbert. The right side of that line is going to be fantastic. I mean, with Mekhi Becton and Joe Alt, you're looking at 6'7" and 6'8" respectively. 362 pounds and 300 and I believe 53 pounds or something like that of that nature with Joe Alt. I mean, these are two massive human beings guarding Justin Herbert. So right now you have an offensive line that's slated to have. We need to go ahead and just get this extension done with Slater and we lock him in. I mean, I have no doubt that the deal is going to get done. It's just making me nervous the longer it goes on. We don't want that to turn into an ugly situation with one of the best left tackles in the league. But right now, the stands, they're talking about giving Zion some snaps at the center position. So you're looking at having, I mean, there's nothing solid yet. This is why we definitely need another guard. Because right now you're looking at Slater, Zion Johnson, Bradley Bozeman, Mekhi Becton, and Joe Alt on your line position. So we definitely need to get another guard. If they're gonna move Zion in, they can't do it at the moment. So you got to get another guard. So I expect them to go guard either they sign another guard here in the free agency period, or they definitely go guard in the draft. I know we're all looking forward to seeing who they end up picking. Again, I think it'll either be Gray Zabel or Donovan Jackson. I think they look at Tate Ratledge later. Luke Kendra is another guy. Jared Wilson, I think, is a phenomenal center. Jake Majors is a great center. So we need to either pick up a center. I would prefer that we pick up a center and push Zion back out to guard. He didn't do absolutely too terrible, but I think you get a guy in there that can do the pre-reads that we need, shifting blocking assignments around. So you want to get a guy who's played a ton of center in there and let him be the guy, and you kick Zion back out, let him play guard where he naturally plays. And I think that would be decent to run with. I would prefer to actually draft two. If we can get two guys in the draft, I think that's the way we want to go. Or either sign another guy and get another guy in the draft. But we definitely need two more guards, because you're still going to need a backup for Mekhi Becton, and you're going to need, if you keep Zion over there, you're going to need a backup for Zion, and you're going to need a backup, or you're going to need a starter at center. So you got to get at least three more linemen. Okay, so we're not done with linemen. So just to have two backups at guard, and you got to have a backup at center, we actually need another tackle too. So, because Trey Pipkins is still on the team at $6 million, that's just a little rich for my blood. I think they need to get rid of Pipkins. I think they're waiting to see what's there. They may need to keep him and kick him back out to tackle, and then he could be a swing tackle. You still want to, I think, bring in somebody who's going to compete for that position. I don't think we want to just give it to him. I think we really want to bring somebody in who can compete with him for that position. So we're looking at about 4 linemen that we still need to get to really fill this line out. I mean, it's a great start right now with Mekhi Becton, adding him, but we really need about 4 more linemen. We got to have a backup to Becton, again, for you guys that are questioning. Backup to Becton. You're going to need to get a center that's a starting center. You're going to need to get another tackle that can be a swing tackle or just a backup. And you're going to need to get another guard that's going to either take over that position or be a backup to Zion Johnson. So, we still got to get some guys. We still got some work to do. We got a lot done in the first 3 days of free agency. We do got a lot of work to do, but that was just the first week, and I'm super stoked about what's been going on so far. I can't wait to see what they do next week. I think they do a bunch of more moves. I don't expect them to do this many moves. I'm hoping they get the Slater deal done. I hope we figure out what happens with Asante Samuel Jr., and I hope they bring in a couple of more linemen, veteran guys that we can put on the line, and then we won't be pressed to get something done. Maybe they bring back Keenan Allen. Maybe they find another veteran wide receiver to come in here. We will need to get another running back in the draft. I think we need Travion Henderson is who I like in the 3rd round. Maybe we can get him. Maybe we won't. I think he might be gone by the time we pick. I know we're picking at 55, I believe it is. I don't think we get him there. I think we go defensive line or defensive line, offensive line with those positions. So we'll figure out what's going on. But I think it's going to be exciting next week of free agency. That will tell us what we need to do in the draft when we get done with free agency and all the dust settles and the picture is clear. We'll really have a better idea of what we want to do in the draft. So that is my free agency wrap up for week 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give me a like, comment, or subscribe. Let me guys know what you think, what you guys would like to see. Let me know where you're a fan from. Tell me about your area, how you became a Charger fan.